I'm back. So, after a long hiatus, you probably wondered what I was up to, and if you weren't, I'm going to tell you anyway. You clicked on the video, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I published my illustrated children's book, The Halloween Jamboree, and through all the month of October I was doing book signings and I did some readings at schools, which was really fun. I got to go in and see some students and read my book to them, and that was the most rewarding part. I made coloring pages of the illustrations and got kids to really just enjoy the Halloween spirit. I actually went on the day of Halloween to an elementary school and read to a bunch of kids, so that was great. Along the way, I learned about what it means to self-publish a book and all of the extra work that goes into it. It really does take more than just being a writer to self-publish. You have to promote and you have to learn to format, and I was the slave of many a YouTube tutorial video for that process. And I got through it, and let me just say, if you are a self-published author, I don't envy that at all. It's really hard work. You're doing the job of 5 or 10 people to get your work out there, so props. In November, I began working on publishing my next novella, which was a weird western entitled Silverhands. And then I paused and I thought, okay, I've got 2 short novellas already published, self-published on Amazon, and I have a collection of short stories, but I don't have a full-length novel out yet. And I began to get this idea off of the weird western that I had written for one. And so I resolved in December, hey, I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to finally do that for myself. So I took that setting in the weird western, the Silverhands. If you watched my John the Balladeer video, I talked about a Hyborian America. I jumped that world forward into the Old West and started writing about these characters that I had written about in the novella. So I'm currently 45,000 words in as of right now on my first draft manuscript. I've been writing steadily since December, roughly about 2,000 words a week, which is really good for me as far as consistency goes. I know it's not a ton of volume, but I've been writing really consistently and also writing some side projects as well. So I hope to finish the first draft by the end of summer and then begin the editing process this fall. So that's as much of an update as I can give you, but it's really exciting. This is a big undertaking for me to write a novel, and I'm excited to keep going, and I can feel the legitimacy of it. I don't know if that sounds weird, but I'm ready to finish, and I can feel that I can actually finish this. Like I mentioned, I wasn't just working on the novel draft of that weird western. I also wrote several short stories, and that was just to keep working on my craft and to give myself breaks from Silverhands, to keep my writing sharp and also to not stop writing whenever, I would feel that fatigue that you feel when working on a larger piece. Since my channel went away in October and I began focusing on writing and writing those short stories, I actually have had those short stories accepted a total of 4 times. So in the last 7 months, I've been published 4 times, which is a really big deal for me. I feel like things are snowballing. They came out of the blue, and I'm incredibly blessed to have that happen. But those stories are as follows. So the story that's been already published is called The Reach of the Surfaced King, and that was published in a fantasy magazine called Mystic Minds magazine. They're a small publication out of Utah. They do fantasy and science fiction. My short story for them was called Reach of the Surfaced King, and it came out in their March 2026 issue. It's available digitally if you want to check it out, and they plan on having a physical release of the magazine come out soon. So go ahead and check them out. Also, I was accepted into an anthology of short stories called The Showcase of Phobias, which is a series of short stories all linked by a different phobia. I wrote a short story that is a man facing the fear of predetermined fate, which is a really common trope in mythology. And so that story I actually modeled and made it sort of a modern retelling of the Cyclops chapter from the Odyssey, which is something that I taught a lot in my high school classroom. So it was something I was familiar with, something I was excited to reinterpret and retell on my own, and that'll be out in October of this year. So Showcase of Phobias, And that short story, if you're familiar with the Odyssey, you'll get the reference, is entitled Now Comes the Weird Upon Me. And then I am also accepted into the With Malice magazine, which is a horror magazine, and that short story is entitled Mr. Edgar's Guest, and the editor of the magazine told me it is coming out late end of this year, 2026. It might come out January. This is a new magazine that they're starting up, and he's not exactly sure, but I will be part of that issue that comes out at the end of the year. So, and then burying the lead, unless you follow Pulp Mortem and watched his update video with the gruesome thumbnail. Jake, I had to send that YouTube link in a group text to some friends of mine, and I had to clarify to ignore the thumbnail video, so the thumbnail in your video, so thanks for that. That's going to be Weird Frequencies Out of the Void, and you saw Jake's video. I'll be in there. The story that I've got is called The Descent of Agnes Doubleday. It's a science fiction story in the vein of a Twilight Zone episode, so if you like those fun kind of kooky premises that the sci-fi genre, particularly that corner of the sci-fi genre of the Twilight Zone, comes up with, then I think you'll like that story. I had a lot of fun writing it. Of course, I've continued to read as well. I'll put out a separate video of everything I've read since Christmas, so that's coming soon. Watch the channel for that. As far as updates to this channel and what I plan to do with it going forward, I do want to get back into making videos. I think they are a good creative outlet for me, something different to do other than writing, to flex my creative muscles. And it's just something I enjoy doing. I like being a part of the community, this corner of YouTube that I've found with all of the other writers and book reviewers and readers, and it's just a really cool community, so I want to continue to be a part of it. I'll continue to review what I read, so those RQR, really quick reviews, those will still come out, and what I want to do is I want to bend it a little more toward writing craft when I review books that I read. So what as authors, aspirational authors and writers, we can take from reading these types of stories. What do those authors do well, and what possibly would we want to avoid? In that vein, I'll be reviewing the weird classics and the pulps because that's what I enjoy reading, but as you'll see in my reading update video, I have a variety of what I like to read, and I'd like to continue to review broader and broader genres and types of stories. So I'd love to do reviews for indie work. Being accepted at Weird Frequencies and seeing that community and how many aspirational authors there are out there, I'd love to do my part to showcase good writing. So if you have any indie recommendations that are weird and something you think I might like, leave a comment down below. So if you made it this far into the video, thanks for listening and hearing what I have to say, and those of you that stuck around from a few months ago, thanks for hanging around, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. We have a lot of fun. If you like to read and you like to write, that's what we cover here. So I will see you all in the next video, and until then, adios.